Alright guys, this is going to be a trade recap of today and also my first YouTube video. I'm going to start posting a lot of trade recaps, what I do in a day, and teaching trading in general. I'm going to start posting a lot of free content on here to help you guys out as well, along with the free Discord, of course, in my bio. And let's start off on how I made $1,700 today trading Nasdaq. So obviously it's a different day now, so it went away, but here is the PNL. So it was a $1,658, and this is the exact trade I took. And I'm going to briefly explain everything I took and why I took this entry and why this was my draw on liquidity, why my stop loss was placed here, just so you guys get a rough idea of how I trade. Going into market open, this line over here is the market open. So I obviously have to write out my draws on liquidity. So what practically that means is within the next hour, where does price want to go? And in my opinion, I marked out these two lows. So this is what I told my Discord over here. I let know the Discord that we are pretty much bearish, but it's very possible that we can retrace back up to a 1 hour fair value gap. So this was a draw. We had this draw over here lower, which is just a 1 hour low into a fair value gap as well. Or this 1 hour fair value gap that was bearish that we could possibly retrace into and continue lower. So that's what I told the Discord, and that's exactly what I marked out. So this 25139 was the entry I actually took. So at the time, obviously market opened over here. So these candles weren't here. Right here was a 1 hour fair value gap right here. And this is what I was targeting. And going into market open at 6:30, for me it's 6:30 because I'm in LA. So it was actually like, what, 4 minutes? Yeah, 4 minutes to market open. So pre-market, we kind of started dumping a little bit. I pretty much assumed that we're just going to kind of dump all the way down to this 1 hour fair value gap to the bearish side and hit this 1 hour bullish gap and continue higher. But vice versa, we got two pretty much V-shaped confirmations that we only want this higher draw on liquidity. Let me remove this fair value gap so you guys can see. Okay, so this was a draw on liquidity right here. Market open is this dotted line. So let me remove this. So you guys see these two V-shaped candles literally showing that we only want this draw on liquidity. Now, I pretty much thought we're going to take this without getting some sort of retrace because obviously I want to get some sort of confirmation before I enter the trade. I don't want to enter, for example, right here and then get retraced all the way down to this gap over here, get stopped out, and then price proceeds to my draw on liquidity. Obviously, that wouldn't be ideal. So I wanted to wait for some sort of retracement. So we get a very, very tiny 1 minute, not even practically a retrace. Honestly, I don't really take these types of setups. It was just very confirmed because of the V shape. It was two big displacing candles towards the draw on liquidity. It was a pretty close draw on liquidity, and it was an A plus draw on liquidity. So it kind of made sense. But we got this little 1 minute downward candle over here, followed by this, again, another big displacing bullish candle. But I entered in the middle of it just because I wanted to see if we're possibly going to be retracing deeper. But this is why I left myself wiggle room. I put my stop over here just because, honestly, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense for a price to invalidate this 1 minute fair value gap to come back and tap this 1 minute fair value gap over here. I personally don't think it would make sense. I feel like if we're going to come all the way down over here, it was possibly just a very big and deep retrace, and we're just going to come down and take out this draw. But that's why I put my stop loss here. And I obviously put my take profit at the draw on liquidity. Now, there was actually another draw on liquidity somewhere up here that you could have held to. If I'm not wrong, it was another fair value gap. Yes, I think it was this one over here. You could have held to this one. I know a bunch of people that held to this one as well. So yes, if you held up until this one, you actually like ticked it. And there's also some people that took short opportunities. Now, today, obviously, this was my trade. I entered one contract, and it was 72.25 points. And that's how I made $1,700. And this was on my top flip accounts, and I only took a winning day on this account over here just because I want to secure a payout. I'm already eligible for a payout. I think I need one more winning day, or I'm not sure, something like that. But yeah, so I wish I copied my accounts, but I didn't, just because this is practically not what I trade. I usually wait for a deeper retrace or some sort of gap confirmation. But this is practically, I trade continuations, and in my opinion, continuations are way easier than reversals. Honestly, it's three simple steps. Actually, two. Draw on liquidity, safe entry. That's literally all you need to become a pro trader. You don't really need anything else. Everything else is overcomplicated stuff. You don't need anything else. As long as your draw on liquidity is correct, your trade is going to hit. As long as you get a safe entry that you won't get stopped out on, your trade is going to hit. Now, everything else is obviously going to be a statistical error. Now, I prefer taking 1 to 2 RR trades, but having an 80-85% win rate rather than taking 1 to 13 RR trades, but only having a 30% win rate. That's just how I personally like trading. In my opinion, it's better on psychology too, especially for newer traders. I'd rather win more but make less rather than win less but make more. It just doesn't make sense. And yeah, that's pretty much the reason and the bias behind my entry. Now let's go over what else you could have took. There is a lot of people that also shorted to this 930 candle over here. You could have took something like this after we got this displacement. I'll probably take it around here. Oops, that's the wrong one. I'll probably take it around here and obviously stop above these highs over here. And then you could have targeted probably either a gap somewhere if there was some sort of gap, or you could have just held it all over here as like a long position. But yeah, I know a lot of people that took shorts too, or if you really wanted, you could have waited and took something like this. You could have waited for this retrace followed by a displacement candle. You could have entered mid candle over here somewhere, put your stop loss at this fair value gap end, and then targeted this. It would have been a nice 1.4 RR trade, and it went straight to your take profit. There was honestly very good opportunities today. It was a pretty good day to trade. Let's go ahead and check news for the week while we're here. Tomorrow we don't really have much. Wednesday we have FOMC at 11 a.m. Pacific time, so make sure on EST time, make sure you add 3 hours, I think it is. On Thursday, non-farm employment. They are red folder, but that shouldn't really do much. And on Friday, we have PMI. So PMI should be a decent amount to pump the market up or down, depending on how market goes. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. It was a pretty easy day, I'm not going to lie. I feel like a lot of people banked today. If you didn't, that's completely okay. I recommend joining the free Discord. I literally give out my daily draws on liquidity, as you see over here, exactly what's going on, what I expect price to do, if I recommend trading, if I recommend not to trade, etc. I explain a lot. We also have a questions tab. You can ask multiple questions, and of course I'll answer all of them. We have a trading glossary that explains all of trading terms, and now we're also starting to post these daily recaps. So I'm gonna add a new channel with daily recaps, weekly recaps, and also probably like the most A+ trade of the day or something along those lines. If you guys want to learn, you guys can DM me to learn more. You guys can join my free Discord. It will be in my YouTube bio and on the description of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.